Ooh, fresh pavement. Let's do a 0 to 60.
Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're in a 2016 BMW 340i. This is in my mind, I think it's the best of the 3 Series, but that's one of those things that'll depend a lot on who you ask and exactly what they want out of a car. I really like this one. Drives very well, has a lot of get up, and great sport tuning. But this isn't about the drive of the car. This is about the interior of the car. So in this shaky cam interior review, we're going to go over most of the gadgetry. This is pretty close to fully loaded right here, so it has almost everything you can get with this car. So we'll start out. Here's some of the tones inside the car. I'll show you another spot that'll look a little better. It won't have the sun glare here. So doors, windows, etc. right here. And over here, let's start with the lighting. Here's your lighting here. Fog lamps there, dimmers there. Down here are your safety gadgets, I guess you'd say. This is on by default, so you have to turn it on and off whenever you don't want it. This is the adaptive cruise right here. Over here is lane keeping. Blind spot. That's what I'm looking for. Blind spot monitoring over there. The blind spot monitoring shows in the mirror, so you see that triangle right there. That will light up. Anyway, back to what we were doing. If I screwed all those buttons up, you will be reading right down here exactly what they actually do. Okay. At the steering wheel, we have, here's your cruise control gadgets. So you turn cruise control on and off. This is basically a cancel button. So if you have cruise control on, you hit this, it turns it off, but it doesn't forget your settings, so you can quickly hit resume and it will go back. This changes the cruise up and down, and this changes the distance for your adaptive cruise. So this shortens the distance, this lengthens the distance. I will note that if you have a lot of weather, if there's a lot of snow and stuff, your cruise will stop working, because if the sensors up there don't work, the cruise doesn't work. What I would recommend is that you turn off that, and then most of the time the cruise will turn back on. I had that happen a couple times this week, and I've figured out very quickly, if I just shut that button off, the one that's green glowing right there, then cruise would work again. I just wouldn't have the adaptive cruise anymore. Over here you have your radio and telematics. So voice control here, which is fairly useful in this. BMW has pretty good voice control system in this car, and in most of their cars. We saw it in the X4. Here you have so volume controls, change the mode, move through things. This is a button as well as a dial, and telephone. So you use this to pick up the phone. You also use it to hang up when you're done with the phone. Paddle shifting, of course. Actually kind of useful in this car. I like the paddle shifting in this car. Some cars it's kind of a pointless endeavor. This car, it's actually kind of nice. Over here you have your lighting and so forth. And over here you have your windshield washers and whatnot. Then looking at the dash, I'm going to try to hold this camera a little bit back so that we can see a little better. So over here's your fuel gauge, here's your speed and your tach, and then this is the information that the bottom part there changes when you use that button there. So right now it's on a trip. You can see I put 212 miles on it, and that's the miles on the car itself. And there's the clock and the engine heat on the very end. Down here, this is shows your gear. So when you're in manual mode, it will have an M and then what gear number you're in. And when you're in drive mode, it will have a D with the gear that you're in. And efficiency dynamics, this is basically just your real-time MPG gauge. I would kind of take it with a grain of salt, because I don't think it's as good as it says it is. But, you know, whatever. And then you have various lights throughout here that show you what's going on. You also, this car is equipped with a heads-up display, and of course heads-up displays never show on camera, but you can change a few of the things that are on it, and I'll probably show you that on the infotainment over there, how that works, because chances are you'll have to change it at least once. One thing that I noted that it does not include that I wish it did is I wish that the tachometer there was also on that heads-up display. When you're sport driving, it really kind of sucks to have that display be useless because you're still having to look down here all the time. So moving along, this is the infotainment screen. Very nice. I really like it. You can see you have a lot of options here. There are a couple of things that you need to know with this car, and I will get to them when we look at the gear shifter. I will mention that. But one of the things that you really should know is that if you go in here, you can go to, I believe it's in vehicle info. There you go. And there's a quick reference guide. There's the full-on owner's manual, etc., etc. The quick reference guide probably has most of the stuff you need to know. So you can page through these. It'll tell you what it is. One of the things I had to look up was refueling and washing. And so I'm going to get to this now, and I'm not going to wait. When you're washing this car, if you're in an automated car wash, this car will stop and just sit there, and that's not a good thing. So here's the instructions on what you should do, and what it boils down to is put the car in neutral and shut the engine off once you're on the track and ready to go, and then the car will stop nannying. Back on that main menu, one other thing that we should probably look at, because it's pretty important, down in the settings, here's your heads-up display settings. The thing you're going to use probably the most is right here. You're going to want to height adjust that to fit you when you drive. There's no physical button for that. You have to do it through here. Also, up here, you can, whoops, I just turned it off. Up this one, you can change what's on the display. So this is the stuff that pops up as you're in that little display as you're driving. Useful information to know right there. And back to the main menu, and I'll show you the controls for this in 1 second. It's the usual command knob. You know, the Germans love those things. Here is some vents, door locks right there, so there are no door lock controls on the doors. I probably said locks and stuff when I mentioned the door, but you know, I'm not known for pinpoint accuracy on these videos. Lots of people love to point that out in the comments down there. Alright, across here you have basically your CD player and your preset buttons, and this is your volume here, and then you push it to mute. Everything here is pretty straightforward. Same with the climate, very straightforward. I've left it on. I hope it's not blowing on the camera too much. Here's your button warmers there. This is your defrost and the rear window, and etc., etc. You can see what it is. Easy system, great to use, works really well. Down here you have, this is a great spot for your phone. It's nice and rubberized, and it's behind the drink holders, so when you open up the bourgeois cover, you can see, you shove your drink holder, your drinks in there, and you still have room for that. If you are a 7-Eleven giant huge ass gulp drinker, it won't fit in here. It will fit probably down in here, but it will not fit up here. I have a water bottle that's about yay tall when it's in here, and it's leaning forward and stuff. So there you go. You need to know that in case that's important to you. Again, coming down here, this is the usual BMW shifter. You push the button here and you move it through what you want, shove it over to the side, and you have manual shifting either here or with those paddles, and you push the button to park. Over here you have, you can turn off the traction control. I don't know why. If you know, if you can manually turn it off if you really want to right there. I believe the only reason that's there is because it's federally mandated. Because the other way to turn it off is to use this. This is your drive mode control. So I'll page up and down through them so you can see it. You watch right up there. You see now we're in sport mode. I've been driving in that mode most of the time this week. And here is, if I can get it to go, Sport Plus, which turns off traction control automatically And in my mind, if I'm going to turn off traction control, it's going to be because I'm in Sport Mega Awesome Plus mode. So regular Sport mode here adds a little more throttle response, tightens up the dampers a bit, makes the car much more sporty, and it puts out some beautiful V6 muscle growls. And then you have comfort mode, which is good on the highway. Once you get on the highway, you do that. Steering wheel loosens up a little bit, dampers loosen, everything gets a little softer, runs a little better. And then when you really want to, if you're going long distance or something, Eco Pro will give you much better fuel economy, according to them. I couldn't tell you if it makes a difference. And then below those buttons, here you have your camera control and your park assist for the radar. So the camera, by default, is 360 degrees. See that? And then here is the radar there. You can change the camera with that camera button. So I'm looking to one direction, another direction. So if you're parallel parking, it will show you those side cameras only, or you can look at the full view here. Kind of nice. One thing I'm missing is I wish that you could do a rear view only. That would be very, very handy, I think is the right way to put it. It would give you a little bit wider space to see cross traffic and stuff like that. That's the only thing I think is missing here, but you know, what do I know? So park the car again. This is the command knob. So this is how you run your infotainment. You have a lot of quick buttons here. Most of the time, here's your nav, telephone, menu. Most of the time you're going to be hitting menu and probably these two buttons, unless you make a lot of phone calls. Then you'll be using this. I will point out that the Bluetooth in this car is very good, because in comfort mode, I have to point that out, it needs to be in comfort mode. If you're in sport mode, there is a little bit more noise inside the car than there is otherwise, and that's just, noise, vibration, and harshness go up when you tighten up suspension. So in comfort mode, the Bluetooth in this car is very clear. Other people will hear you very well. And then your back button option, etc. And then you can twist it, move it back and forth, and you push up and down to make selections. Very important that you remember to make the selection. So when you change something, it doesn't stay changed. It will go back to the default or back to what it was unless you push down and select. Remember that when you're doing that heads-up display and stuff. Oh, so you have a center console here with the usual phone holder. You notice that BMW has dropped the BlackBerry thing, and they're to more generic, I guess. And then there's your USB and aux plug. And I don't think there's a 12 volt in here. I think there's only the one up there. So, and then just look at this wood and look at the way it looks. Just beautiful. Beautiful, dark mahogany style. And then you'll see the kind of a brushed aluminum look and this black. All soft touch materials, feels very good. Seats are beautiful in this car, and I love the red accents. Goes with the red exterior of this version. Back seats are usable by adults. Not quite, and they have the built-in window shades. You can't see anything because of the sun, sorry. Anyway, they have the built-in window shades and all of that. This car, in terms of interior space, is not quite as roomy as, say, a Toyota Camry, but it is easily on par with any of the mid-size sedans you can name. Name any mid-size sedan. This one is probably on par in terms of the back seat space, front seat space, and trunk space. So very well done car. Really enjoy this. Have really enjoyed this 3 Series here. Again, this is a 2016 BMW 340i. And this has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and we'll talk to you again soon.